when he got in, and did you talk to him, and how's he doing?
I didn't talk to him about when he officially got in. I know it was late or early, however you want to define that. But yeah, he was here in his normal time, doing his normal shooting routine and everything else. But he and Jerome both flew together yesterday, and so yeah, he's back. He's ready to play.
Hey, Brad, are you sticking with the same starting rotation as
Yeah.
last? Okay.
Just to follow up with Isaiah, have you had a chance to talk to him at all? Have you?
I talked to him. I talked to him for a few minutes. I just talked to him about it. I saw the clip of him speaking yesterday at the funeral, and we were texting yesterday, and obviously had a lot of talks with him over the last 2 weeks. But my discussion with him wasn't about basketball. Obviously, it was just about how hard it is to speak at a funeral. He's been through a lot. He's been through a lot, and he just continues to amaze us all when he steps on that court with his resolve and his ability to just kind of be in, as he's called it, his sanctuary. And he'll continue to have really tough days. I mean, I don't think that's going to stop.
What factors went into you keeping Gerald in the starting lineup as opposed to going back to the starting five you had for the most of the season?
Well, obviously, we put a lot of time and thought into that. I think the biggest thing is that, our ability to space the floor. I felt like we did a good job of flying around defensively. We're small, but we're pretty athletic in that group, and we were pretty quick to balls, whether they were rebounds or loose balls or whatever the case may be. So there are a lot of factors there, and I think that he's done a really good job. And I think the other factor that cannot be understated is how Amir's accepted, having to be available off the bench, and he's been the best teammate you could ask for.
Brad, so you spend thousands of dollars on studying sleep habits and eating and doing everything at the right time and keeping everything consistent, and now you've kind of had to throw this out the window because of what Isaiah and your team is dealing with. So how do you reconcile that with him and the rest of your team, just in terms of your routine?
Yeah, so I mean, in the big picture of things, obviously this is secondary. What he did, you have to do, like I said before, if he decided he couldn't come back and play, then that's, I would think that most of us would struggle to play. That said, I think that what you're studying those things for are long-term effects. And so a whole year of treating your body right and a whole year of doing things the way that you want to do them, there are days where, you don't sleep as well. There are days where life happens and you just kind of deal on the court the best that you can. And I think the emotional side of things is probably more challenging than the physiological side of things.
Brad, I would assume Green's going to guard Porter.
He'll guard a bunch of guys like we have in the Bulls series.
But what kind of responsibility is that for Gerald to guard a guy like Porter, who's a 40% three-point
Well, I
shooter?
mean, he's going to have to guard all. I mean, we switched 1 through 4 in our last series, so he's going to have to guard all those guys. And whether it's Porter or whether it's Beal or whether it's Morris or whether it's Gortat or Wall on a switch, he's just going to have to know what they do best and take it away. He's done a good job of that in the Chicago series. I thought that he was our primary guy on Mirotic starting the game. And, I didn't feel like Mirotic got the looks once we went smaller that he got in the first couple of games, especially in Game 2. So he did a really good job of knowing what he does. Porter's a good player. I think if he didn't have his career high on us, he had one of his career highs on us at the start of the year, 34 points. He's shooting the ball great, and he's a great cutter. and an offensive rebounder, and Gerald's going to have to be one of many that helps to try to limit those things.
Brad, Chris Miller, CSN Washington. Because of the quick turnaround for both teams, how much do you and your staff kind of lean on previous film, the past 4 games against Washington?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think that that's how teams play against each other is very applicable, probably more applicable than even recent trends. But, you know, watch, you know, the majority of your focus is on the most recent games they played and your games that you've played. So they're a really good team, really well coached, got great depth. You know, Bogdanovich's scoring off the bench has added a great dimension along with Jennings. I thought Jennings played really well in the last couple of Atlanta games. And, you know, I guess it's the second round of the playoffs. You know, expect to play really good teams.
Brad, Joseph Pavone, WEEI.com. This is a Wizards team that's been here before more than once and has experience. How much of that do you think factors into the series between you two?
I mean, I think that ultimately you can go through each guy and the different experiences and everything else, but comes down to, do you get back, set your defense, rebound the ball, share the ball, play well. So I've always thought that experience was, you know, something that certainly is a talking point, but there's a lot of power in having some naivety too.
Coach Mark D'Amico, Celtics.com. Throughout the season, nearly every comment that's been made by you or any of the players on your team about Gerald Green have been about his offense and what he could do coming into the game and scoring the ball. Now we're talking about his defense. When did that begin to click for him this season, and why do you think he's able to affect games now defensively for you guys?
Well, I think he's certainly more than capable. He's long. He's athletic. He can fly in and tip rebounds if he doesn't grab them. He can keep them alive if he has to jump over a big. He's able to challenge shots, and I think that when you shoot it and he's in the vicinity, you know what he's capable of as far as getting up in the air. You know, I think that being there on the catch and making it as tough as possible is, you know, been good for us with him.